traveled through. Dear wizard, are you awake? When Feng Chen opened his eyes, the first thing he saw was a very sweet girl in a maid uniform standing in front of him respectfully. Feng Chen was still in a dazed state after just waking up from sleep and thought he was dreaming. Although he is not an otaku, he is indeed a true lolicon. I was having sex with such a beautiful little loli. What should happen next? At this time, the little loli's voice came again. Master Wizard, is there anything I can do to help you? Little Loli felt very strange about this master wizard who had been staring at her lustfully after waking up. Not even the word respect was removed. It seems that the little Loli still has a lot of resentment towards this wizard. Nothing. At this time, our wizard was mostly awake. He felt that it was not very polite to stare at a girl like this, so he scratched the back of his head in embarrassment. Where is this place? Are you playing role-playing? And who are you? Feng Chen felt a little strange about this beautiful girl who suddenly appeared in front of him. He only remembered that he was celebrating his 20th birthday with his friends. Later, he drank a lot of wine, and something strange seemed to happen in the middle. When he woke up, he was here, and there was such a cute and sweet girl in front of him, which had to make Feng Chen have all kinds of doubts. It can't be a prank by Chun Lin's gang. After I get emotional, I will jump out and laugh at myself. Feng Chen still doesn't feel at ease with this group of bad friends with criminal records. They don't do this kind of thing less. Sir, are you feeling uncomfortable somewhere? After asking her own question and not waiting for her answer, she started to be in a daze, sometimes in a contemplative manner, and sometimes in a vicious manner. The wizard Sama and the little Loli found it very interesting. She didn't have the superior feeling of other career changers at all, but felt a bit like the little brother next door. The little Loli was disgusted by her own thoughts and quickly shook her head to throw it away. Oh, I'm fine. Please answer my question. Feng Chen shouted in his heart to calm down, and he must not let those bad friends see the joke, so his tone was much colder than before, and he looked at the little Lolita with cold eyes. I'm sorry, sir. I'll answer your question right now. The little Lolita was a little uncomfortable with Feng Chen's sudden indifference, and she murmured in her heart that job changers are just like job changers. She looked stupid just now, but her true nature was revealed in just a moment. This is the Oak Bar. I am the maid sent by Master Accra to take care of you. My name is Sarah, but what is role play? The little Loli answered Feng Chen's series of questions and looked at Feng Chen curiously. The little Loli had never heard of the word role play. Role-playing is, by the way, where is the Oak Bar? Who is a Kala? Feng Chen didn't know how to explain role-playing, so he quickly changed the subject. Don't you know about the Oak Bar? Have you forgotten who Sir Accra is? The question mark in Sarah's eyes became even bigger. I just woke up, and my head is a little hard to use. Please tell me. Feng Chen laughed. Okay, sir, the Oak Bar is the largest bar in Rog Camp. Most adventurers will come here. As for Lady Accra, she's the leader of Rog Camp and the prophet and leader of our blind sisterhood. She is a very great person. You can't lie if you meet her. She can see through a person's heart. When little Lolita Sarah talked about Accra, her eyes lit up like a starstruck. Feng Chen was already shocked when he heard this. Camp Rog, the adventurers, the blind sisters, and Akela, who sees through people's hearts. Aren't these all things in Diablo? Did he travel through time? Or is this part of a prank played by those bad friends on him? Knowing that he likes to play dark, they use this to disgust himself? But looking at the expression in the little Loli's eyes, it doesn't look like she's just pretending. Feng Chen felt that he needed to sort out his thoughts. Sarah, right? Feng Chen saw that the little Loli had no intention of stopping after talking about her idol, so he had to interrupt her. Yes, sir. What are your orders? I'm willing to help you. Little Loli was about to say something, but she was a little unhappy when she was interrupted. However, she still had to maintain a good attitude on the surface. After all, she was a high-ranking career changer. If he went to complain to Master Accra, it would be troublesome. The scheming little Loli thought bitterly. I'm a little hungry. Can you bring me something to eat? Okay, sir, please wait a moment. After saying that, he turned around and left. After watching the little lowly go out, Feng Chen fell into deep thought. Feng Chen only remembered that he was drinking with his friends. After drinking, he walked home. It was already past 2 o'clock in the morning. There was no one or a car on the road. The whole street was empty. As he walked, a feeling of emptiness and loneliness filled his heart. Feng Chen is a different kind of orphan. Why do I say different? That's because he knows what his parents look like, their names, and where they went. However, he has lived with his grandma since he was 7 years old and has never seen them again. Sometimes Feng Chen also wants to find them, but firstly, he doesn't have the ability, and secondly, even if he finds them, what can he do, and why should he let them come back to accompany him? They have their own ideals, and for their ideals they are willing to give up everything, even their young sons. In fact, Feng Chen didn't hate them. After all, people with ideals are great people, but Feng Chen felt very proud. It's just that they didn't come back for his 20th birthday, and there wasn't even any news, which made Feng Chen feel very lonely. How much he wanted to be hugged by his parents. Thinking about it, he couldn't help but shed tears. While walking like this, a voice suddenly broke into his mind. Do you feel lonely and empty? Come with me. This place is full of passion and will keep you away from loneliness. The voice was hoarse and scary, which made Feng Chen's whole body tremble. The sadness was gone, and most of the wine was gone. You, who are you? You come out in the middle of the night to pretend to be a ghost and scare people. Aren't you afraid of turning into a ghost yourself? Feng Chen shouted loudly. Goosebumps appeared all over his body, and he started to stutter when he spoke. God, Ga, I am a ghost. Of course, I am not afraid of turning into a ghost. Boy, you are in doom today. Follow me obediently. After that, Feng Chen felt that his head was getting heavier and heavier. Later, he felt like he had returned home, turned on the computer, entered Diablo, and couldn't remember anything after that. After waking up, he came to this place. After things were smoothed out, Feng Chen felt a chill. Was he traveling through time? This is too bloody, a little too outrageous. I haven't lived enough. This is not passion, but excessive passion. But fortunately, I didn't leave myself in the wild and endure the taste of hunger, cold, and fear. That would be a bit too exciting. While Feng Chen was still in a state of self-pity and unable to extricate himself, the little lowly Sarah came to the door of Feng Chen's room with a tray of food. The little lowly knocked on the door politely, interrupting someone's thoughts. Sir, this is the food you asked for. Please use it slowly. Sarah placed the tray on the wooden table in a room, turned to Feng Chen and said, Also, Master Akira knows that you are awake and has just sent someone to inform you to go to her place. I hope you will not keep Master Akira waiting. I will leave first. Before Feng Chen could react, the little lowly walked out of the room and walked away. What about it? Feng Chen felt helpless at the little Lolita's reaction, but then smiled. He was still very precarious. What could he do with so many thoughts? Feng Chen was still very interested in the food that little lowly brought. No matter what, he would eat before talking about anything. There was no sumptuous meal, only a piece of barbecue and a bowl of broth. Looking at the food, Feng Chen felt that he was indeed a little hungry. He picked up the broth and barbecue and started eating. Not to mention, the taste was pretty good. The barbecue is crispy and fragrant, and the broth is oily, but not greasy. After eating the food, Feng Chen began to look at the room. It was a wooden house, except for the windshield of unknown material on the window, which was either glass or crystal. Everything else in the room was made of wood. The wooden tables and chairs, the wooden walls, the wooden floor, and the wooden bed. No wonder it's called Oak Bar. Feng Chen cursed. After eating and drinking, Feng Chen began to look at himself in this other world. He wondered how he was different from himself in the original world and whether he had become more handsome. Feng Chen thought narcissistically. Wearing a linen jacket on the upper body, a pair of linen trousers on the lower body, and a pair of rag shoes on the feet, he is dressed like a peasant uncle. How will this make the self-proclaimed wise and powerful man deal with himself? Feng Chen thought sadly. Feng Chen did mean to look down on the farmer uncle. As a well-educated man, he still respected the profession of farmer uncle, but it was a bit difficult to accept his own image. This was basically no match for being handsome, but he couldn't help himself. When the time comes, you will have to wait until you are well off to change your clothes. You are in a foreign country, and you cannot ask for so many things. Looking at his own face reflected in the window, Feng Chen was still very satisfied. At least it was still his own face, and there was no such bloody thing like changing his body. Although it looked a little vicissitudes of life, he looked more mature. Not to mention charming thousands of girls. At least he can be ranked among the handsome ones. Now that his stomach was full and his body had been checked, Feng Chen was too embarrassed to stay in the room any longer. After looking at the room and seeing that there was nothing to clean up, he turned around and walked out of the room. Chapter 2, Accra. The fastest update to the latest chapter of Diablo, the arrival of the God of Law. The Oak Bar is a double-story loft-like wooden building, and the room Feng Chen lives in is in a relatively remote location on the second floor. The first floor is the lobby, which provides adventurers with a place to drink and chat. Of course, there are more than just this one bar, but this is the largest bar in Rog Camp. Most adventurers like to come here. Only when there is no room for people here, they will choose other bars to stay. Feng Chen stepped into the stairway door, feeling as if he had passed through a wall of water. The moment he passed the door, the heat wave and the noisy Feng Chen almost made him urinate, and he fell back behind the door. Suddenly, the whole world became quiet, except for the buzzing in his ears. Is this the legendary soundproof barrier? It's really not a place for people to stay outside, but the magic is really amazing. It's so quiet inside that you can hear a needle drop, but outside it looks like a vegetable market. All this is just separated by a door frame. The appearance of these novel things made Feng Chen less resentful about coming to this world. Let's go to Akala first and ask about the job change. It seems that the little loli said she is a wizard. Isn't that a mage? Hee, can I also have those magical magics? Feng Chen groaned, covering his ears, looking for the direction, lowering his head, and rushing out the door. Pung bang, ouch. Suddenly, the drinking adventurers were violently knocked to the ground by someone. Timdi, damn barbarians. A strong adventurer cursed loudly. Jason, if you dare to insult the great barbarian, take my punch first. The poor adventurer named Jason was punched away by the barbarian. This behavior directly led to a group fight and violence in the Oak Bar lobby. In the end, it didn't stop until the mercenary leader Kasha arrived. Of course, the Oak Bar was also forced to close for a day for rectification. These violent elements used the tables and chairs in the lobby as weapons without using any skills or weapons. Let's say that after a certain person realized that he had hit someone, he did not dare to stop for a moment. While thinking about when he became so strong, he ran towards the distance at a speed that was as fast as lightning. As I was running, I realized that I didn't know which direction Accra was. I have to say that our pig's feet really lacked a muscle. Stopping, Feng Chen looked around. It was dusk now, the sky was getting a little dark, and there were a lot of magic torches lighting up around him. Several pedestrians dressed similar to him were walking around, but they didn't attract any special attention. Hello, how can I get to Mr. Akala's place? Feng Chen had to show his good traditional virtue of not being ashamed to ask questions, and grabbed a relatively kind-hearted pedestrian and asked, "If you keep walking in this direction, you will see a relatively large lawn. There is a tent there where Master Accra lives." A passerby pointed in the direction and said, "Thank you." "You're welcome." After bidding farewell to the kind passers-by, Feng Chen walked in the direction he said. Soon he saw a lawn of more than 200 square meters, with a small tent standing there alone, which was particularly eye-catching. Is this Accra's tent? It's just like the one in the game. I wonder if there's a lot of space inside the tent. Feng Chen thought as he walked to the entrance of the tent. He didn't dare to go in directly. That would be very impolite behavior. Just as he was about to shout, a voice came from inside. Young man, come in. I'm sorry to see you so late. The voice sounded slightly older. Feng was not polite. Although Akira could see into people's hearts, he neither stole nor robbed. He walked and sat upright, so there was no need to be afraid. After entering the tent, I realized that it was not as big as I expected. A bed, a square table, and 2 display cabinets filled the space inside. Not daring to look too closely, Feng said to the owner inside, "It doesn't matter. I didn't know what to do when I woke up anyway. The master happened to be looking for me, so I came over." The appearance of the person in front of her was not as old as her voice. He looked to be in his 30s. He was wearing a linen cloak and looked quite amiable, but his eyes made people dare not look directly into them. "I know you have a lot of questions, but before that I want to tell you some bad news," Akira said seriously, with a touch of sadness in his old tone. "What bad news?" Feng was shocked. Could it be that his identity as a time traveler was exposed, and he was going to be used as a guinea pig? According to reports from the Rogs patrolling outside, the Yama village where you were born was invaded by monsters on the day you accepted your transfer. No one in the village survived, and your parents and sister were also inside. This is very bad news. I hope you can withstand the blow and show your condolences." Akira said slowly, "How could this happen? How could they be dead?" Oh, Feng wanted to show his sadness as much as possible, but he couldn't squeeze out tears no matter how hard he tried, so he had to pretend. Akira, who was watching next to him, shook his head, and a wry smile appeared on his serious face. He had to say, "Young man, I don't know what happened to you, but I am very happy that you can get over your sorrow. Everyone has their own secrets. The great eye will not pry into other people's eyes for no reason. That is not allowed by God. Now let me answer your questions for you." Feng who was playing Xing Xing, was stunned for a moment. He seemed to have forgotten what little Loli told him not to lie in front of Akira. Fortunately, Akira seemed to be easy to talk to. Sir, I want to know something about job transferees. Can you tell me in detail?" Feng is still willing to use his good virtue of not being ashamed to ask questions about things he doesn't know. "Very good, young man. It's not bad to think of this. You don't have the impulsiveness of those people who have just changed jobs and want to brave hell. They deal with things calmly. These are the necessary qualities of an adventurer." Akira nodded with satisfaction and continued. "When you were changing jobs, an inexplicable force attacked the job transfer platform. The force came so fast that we were unable to stop it. By the time we reacted, you were already unconscious on the job transfer platform. We don't know what happened to you, but thankfully you have successfully changed jobs and became a wizard." Having said this, Akira turned around and took out a stick as tall as a person from the cabinet next to him and handed it to Feng Chen. Feng took it respectfully and heard Akira continue. "This is a staff distributed free of charge by the Wizards Association to new wizards. With it, you can go on adventures and seek more powerful equipment." "How can I use this staff?" Feng was at a loss as he held the staff and didn't know which way to press it, so he asked. "You only need to recite it silently in your mind to equip the staff. The same goes for other attributes, storage space, etc. Just recite it silently in your mind. That's all I have to say, so I won't leave you sitting here. If you want to know more, you can go to the Cane Scholar. Kasha is from this camp. Mercenary leader, if you want to hire mercenaries, you can go to her, but her temper is not very good. If you want to repair equipment, you can go to Chashi, but if you want to buy equipment from her, don't have any illusions. If you want to go out for adventure, you'd better come to me. I will provide limited supplies for adventurers. Finally, if you have time, it is best to report to the Wizards Association." After Akira finished speaking, he decisively issued an eviction order. Feng was eager to test out various functions, but was too embarrassed to do so in front of Akira. When he heard Akira driving him away, it was time to borrow a donkey to go downhill, so he quickly said, "Then I won't disturb the adult's rest. I'll leave now." Akira looked at Feng back and smiled slightly. "What an interesting young man. I hope you can bring me more surprises." Chapter 3 Fusion. the fastest update to the latest chapter of Diablo, the arrival of the God of Law. Feng Chen came out of Akra's tent and looked at the darkened sky outside. He was filled with emotion. I have left the earth where I have lived for 20 years. I don't know what my future will be like in this world. Let's find a place to stay first, and then take a look at the unique attributes and skills of this world. Thinking of this, Feng Chen picked up a staff and set off in a certain direction. Feng Chen doesn't dare to go back to the Oak Bar. Even if he does, he doesn't have the money to stay in the hotel, so he might as well find an open space to stay there. Feng Chen began to regret not asking Akala about money just now. This person really couldn't get excited, and he would easily lose everything when he got excited. Impulse is the devil, so be careful next time. Feng Chen found a relatively quiet grassland, sat down on it, and began to silently recite the properties of the staff. Short staff. Hand damage 1 to 5. Durability 20 to 20. Staff level. Fast attack speed. +1 to firebomb, mage only. Plus 50% damage against undead. Looking at the so-called short staff, he didn't understand how long it would be if it were a long staff. The attributes are the same as the novice weapons in the game. It's better than nothing. At least it can fire a firebomb. After reading the staff, I easily equipped it. Just when he was reciting the skills silently and wanted to see the properties of the fire bullet, a golden light flashed across the skill bar, and there was an option called Fusion below. Feng Chen didn't know if other adventurers also had such an option, but it definitely didn't exist in the game. With curiosity, Feng Chen clicked on the Fusion option, and an empty groove inside showed the words Skill Vacancy. Let's take a look at the introduction to Fusion. Fusion. Mysterious and powerful skills only. Effect. 2 different skills can be combined into a brand new skill, thereby producing mysterious and powerful effects. A few simple introductions made Feng Chen extremely happy. Is this the golden finger that comes to another world? Looking at the only 2 words, Feng Chen was sure that this was his exclusive skill. He was very happy, but Feng Chen had no way to test the skill now. The only thing Feng Chen could count on now was the firebomb skill brought by the equipment. Firebomb creates magical firebombs. Mana cost 2.5. Current skill level 1 item. Fire damage 3 to 6. It seemed that the skill damage had not changed. The damage of the next level was 4 to 7, which was the same as in the game. However, Feng Chen saw something different among the gray and unlearned skills. That is, the level of learned skills seemed to have become higher. The original level 12 Fireball actually requires level 18 to learn, but the original level 6 Hellfire level has not changed. Feng Chen looked at the other skills and came to the conclusion that the front skills had not changed, and the subsequent skills had all been upgraded to level 6. This means that skills that can be learned at level 30 cannot be learned until level 36. But that's okay. Maybe it's to give adventurers more time to get familiar with the skills. After all, the prerequisite skills are the basis of every series, and the basics are more important. Feng Chen didn't take it seriously when he thought of this, and let's take a look at his basic attributes. Name. Feng Chen occupation. Wizard level. Level 1 strength. 100 agility. 100 physical. 100 spirit. 100. Seeing this, Feng Chen was shocked again. He thought of some possibility and quickly opened the inventory. He saw 2 small gray-white trapezoid-shaped stones lying quietly in the corner of the item space. In the huge item space, these 2 stones were so inconspicuous. Runtel. Weapon. +2 mana gained after each enemy killed. Armor. +2 mana gained after each enemy killed. Helmet. +2 mana gained after each enemy killed. Shield. +2 mana gained after each enemy killed. Level 13. Rumal. Weapon. Increases fire damage by 5 to 30. Armor. Fire resistance plus 30%. Helmet. Fire resistance plus 30%. Shield. Fire resistance plus 30%. Level 19. Isn't this attribute and rune the only mage account on my computer? Feng Chen remembered that when he was on Earth, he was stupid and deleted the Necromancer account on Battle, a net that he had played for 3 years. In order to vent his frustration, Feng Chen used a modifier to modify the mage account on a single player. However, the power went out before he started playing. Unexpectedly, it became his certificate of coming to this world. If I had known this, I would have to change to be more aggressive. Someone started to get greedy. The 2 runes are used to make the leaves of the rune language. I can't tell you the specific attributes. However, the 8 hashtag rune RAL can only be used at level 19, so the level of the rune language made must be at least level 19. Now I can only look at it and drool, and it also requires a 2-handed staff with 2 grooves to be inlaid. I can only wait and see if I can get it in the future. After the shock, Feng Chen turned his attention back to his attributes. The initial strength of 100 points meant that he basically didn't need to increase his strength in the future. This reminded Feng Chen of the scene at the Oak Bar. No wonder he rushed out without any hindrance. His strength was more than 3 times that of a barbarian of the same level. If a barbarian adds nothing but strength, he will have to reach level 15 before he can compete with Feng Chen. But who would be stupid enough to just add strength? The initial agility of 100 points directly benefits Feng Chen in terms of magic hit rate. This place is no different from the game, where magic is misused everywhere. Then there was the speed when running. Feng Chen tried the running speed, and the result was that the sprint champions on the Earth were all scum in front of him now. Although I couldn't calculate the specific speed, looking at the rapidly reversing scenery next to me, I knew that this speed couldn't be much slower. In order not to shock the world, Feng Chen ran to relatively remote places, so he stopped in front of an open space. Another place that is different from the game, someone was immersed in the fun of let's find faults. This sense of speed is really good. I'm almost catching up with a sports car. At least saving my life shouldn't be a problem. If I can't be beaten, I can run away, right? Compared to this speed, the additional 21-point defense is not worth mentioning. This defense is not easy to test, so we can only wait until we go out to take risks in the future. 100 points of physical strength gave Feng Chen a super high life of 220, a super endurance of 164, and an invisible life recovery speed. 100 points of energy brings Feng Chen's mana up to 165 points, and the magic recovery speed is also increased. I wonder if the potions in this world can quickly restore life and mana like in the game. Several settings that were different from the game made Feng Chen doubt his own knowledge. It seems that it would be better to ask the Cane Scholar tomorrow. After all the trouble, Feng Chen didn't know what to do. Looking at the window lights around him that were gradually extinguished, he thought it must be very late. Although he had just woken up not long ago, Feng Chen still closed his eyes and rested on the spot, saying nothing all night. Chapter 4 Deckard Cain. A. The fastest update to the latest chapter of Diablo, the arrival of the God of Law. The air in the morning was exceptionally fresh, and Feng Chen woke up when it was just dawn. This was his first experience sleeping in the open air. However, for adventurers with strong physiques, there was basically no need to worry about catching a cold. However, except for the dust, no stupid adventurer would choose to sleep directly in the open air. The morning dew on the body made the wet feeling uncomfortable. Most adventurers will have their own dedicated tent, which is very convenient to store in a storage space when not in use. It's just that Feng Chen doesn't have money to stay in a hotel or buy a tent. Poor man. The first thing Feng Chen did when he woke up was to look around to see if anyone was around. If someone saw this embarrassing thing, how could he continue to fool around in the future? Let people know that future heroes have to live on the streets because they have no money. What a price drop. Fortunately, it was still early, and the place he chose was remote enough that no one had passed by and seen his embarrassment. Feng Chen took a deep breath, straightened his clothes, looked in one direction, and prepared to find someone to ask the direction of Cain's residence. Feng Chen walked on the street and looked around. This was the first time he took a closer look at Rog's camp. I saw rows of wooden houses tightly arranged on both sides of the road. Because it was not bright yet, the doors were closed. The Aborigines here did not need to get up early to work, so they did not get up very early. Moreover, the land here has a lot of sand and gravel, so it is not suitable for the growth of crops. The entire camp relies mainly on grazing meat. Some fruits and vegetables are also shipped from the Karash seaboard, and they are generally considered luxuries. The entire Rog camp is divided into 4 areas. One is the eastern area known as the Career Paradise, which is an exclusive area for career changers, and civilians rarely appear there. The Oak Bar from Fengchen is located there. There are many bars here, and the so-called Red Light District can also be found here. This is also the largest trading place. If job changers find equipment they don't need, they can set up a stall here to sell it. Of course, if you're willing to take an expensive commission, you can also go to Kids Auction House to consign it. The entire Rog camp has a population of more than 100,000, but there are only 1,000 people who have changed jobs. The entire eastern region seems very empty. Compared with the openness in the eastern area, the civilian area in the western area is much more crowded. Most of the civilians in the camp live here. They go out to graze during the day and come back to rest at night to provide food and daily necessities for job transfers. The job changers provide them with a place to stay. For these people who are used to seeing death and fear, having a safe haven is more important than anything else. Whether it is crowded or not is secondary. The southern part of the camp is the mercenary training camp. This is the place where Rog's mercenaries conduct daily training. Of course, there is also a place for daily practice for career changers. The person in charge here is the mercenary leader Kasha. I heard that she doesn't have a very good temper, but she is very protective of her shortcomings. If anyone dares to bully her Rog sisters, even the King of Heaven will dare to throw you into a pile of monsters and let you die on your own. The northern area is where various guilds are located, and the mage guild that Fengchen wants to report to is located there. In addition to guild organizations, the Blind Sisters' temporary cathedral, Kids Auction House, and Chashi's blacksmith shop can all be found here. After watching the sunrise, Fengchen finally found someone to ask for directions. When he learned that Cain was in the North District, Fengchen followed the left-hand direction of the rising sun and finally found the cabin where Cain lived while his chest was pressed against his back due to hunger. The physiques of career changers are astonishing, but they still have to eat food. Although they won't starve to death, various negative states will still appear frequently, such as dizziness, vertigo, numbness of limbs. I'm going too far. Cain is an old man in his 60s, with gray hair, walking on a cane and walking slowly. He was wearing a gray robe and carrying a satchel across his back. It looks a bit like Gandalf from the movie Lord of the Rings. Hello, Scholar Cain. My name is Fengchen. Lord Akra introduced me to you. Fengchen walked up to Cain and said respectfully, for the last descendant of the Horadrim, the necessary respect should still be there. Hello. Young man, nice to meet you. How can I help you? Cain is a kind old man who will greet every adventurer with a smile and provide them with help. Nice to meet you, Scholar Cain. I am a newly promoted wizard. Due to some reasons, I passed out during the job transfer, so I don't know much about job transfer. I hope Scholar Cain can tell me in detail about job transfers. Fengchen said respectfully again. Oh, I remembered. I heard that your village was attacked by monsters. Your family has also left this world. I hope you can get out of this shadow soon. It's okay. I will use my own hands to avenge them. Fengchen pretended again. Very good. I feel relieved to have such a fighting spirit, Cain said happily. He didn't know that someone's expression was all fake. He had never seen those so-called relatives and friends, so how could he feel sad? In this other world, death was just a common occurrence. If someone died and he was sad, then he probably wouldn't have to do anything. Everything about job transfers is in this job transfer manual. You can take it and read it. If you don't understand anything, come and ask me. Cain took out a book from his bag, handed it to Fengchen, and said slowly, I'm going to get you something to eat. Your stomach has been growling for a long time. You must be starving. Then I'll trouble the scholar. Feng Chun took the job transfer manual and scratched the back of his head in embarrassment. No trouble. After saying that, he turned and walked towards his cabin. When Feng Chun saw Cain entering the house, he walked to the pavilion in front of the house, found a seat and sat down, and opened the job changer's manual. The manual introduces the basic attributes, skills, and various precautions for each profession. Feng Chun flipped through the pages quickly, looking for what he wanted to know. There isn't a lot of content in the book, so with Feng Chun's 100 points of energy, he quickly read it and memorized it, and a few of his original questions were answered. The power is still increased as in the game by increasing the attack power, which doesn't matter much to Feng Chun, a mage. Agility increases the body's reaction speed. The higher the reaction speed, the natural hit and speed will be improved. Physical strength and energy are similar to those in the game. As the points increase, the recovery speed will also increase. The specific addition is not introduced here. It may be too complicated. The recovery speed of the potion is not as fast as in the game. It will restore a limited value within a limited time, and there is a cooling time. The cooling time will increase as the level of the potion increases. The defense added is indeed full body defense. The same defense of the whole body makes key attacks possible. The strength of each part of the human body is different. Even if it is increased, the defense of the eyes cannot be stronger than the defense of the legs. In addition to training skill proficiency and accuracy, the training ground also has this weak point attack. If you use the weak point attack well, it will produce a lot of negative effects on the enemy, which will make your battle easier to win. While he was watching, Cain walked out of his cabin, holding a bag of dried meat and a cup of hot goat's milk in his hand, and walked slowly to Feng Chun, who was reading a book. "How's it going? Young man, how do you feel?" Cain put down the food and said, "Let's have something to eat first. The room is a bit messy, so I won't invite you to sit inside." "I finished reading Scholar Cain." Feng Chun handed the book back to Cain and said, "It would be great to have something to eat. I feel a little embarrassed if I dare to trouble the scholar." Feng Chun was indeed a little hungry. It was almost noon, and he had already finished digesting the food he ate at the bar yesterday. Feng Chun didn't care about the image anymore. He ate it hungrily, and it was all gone in just a moment. Chapter 5, Continental History. A. The fastest update to the latest chapter of Diablo, the arrival of the God of Law. After eating, Feng Chun began to chat with Cain. This knowledgeable old man was very approachable. He told Feng Chun about the history of this continent, from the Doomsday War to what happened after the 3 demon gods were sealed. Since the 3 demon gods were sealed by the efforts of the Hordra mages